This mama is ready for trauma. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 11 of the Darwin incident. And yeah, we're overdue for some more trauma. This series is a lot. It's so much to deal with for so many reasons. And I think most shows would leave something like what happened last time with Charlie's parents being murdered. That would be like a season finale thing at least. But this series is like, oh no, you're going to have some more episodes after that. Mind you, of course, this is in line with the manga, I presume, so still though. This series, I've said it before, I'm gonna keep saying it, is not what I would have expected at all. When I first saw the trailer for this series, and I first saw did I see a trailer or did I just see like a little glimpse at it? It might have been like a teaser. It was like, I don't think it was long, it was super short, so it might not have been a full trailer, but either way, when I first heard about and saw about this series, I didn't really know what to think. It was one of those shows where it's like I didn't have enough information, and it looked interesting, and it was definitely something I just wanted to give a chance to try out. And so doing a first impression for it just made sense. And the first episode impressed me. It excited me. It made me want to see more. And it definitely gave the vibe that this was going to be a more serious show that had a lot of discussions on what it means to be human and vegan and other stuff like that. But then the more you go into the series, the more episodes you watch, the further and further in you get, the more intense and frightening it becomes. You start to see how it's a lot more than just what that first episode gives you. That was just a prelude. That was just like a glimpse at what this is. And the more you see, the more upsetting it becomes. So it's gotten to a point where it's kind of hard to watch. Like pretty much since the school shooting, it's become a series that has become increasingly harder and harder to watch because of just the frightening imagery and subject material, and it's just, again, it's not dying down. The school shooting was basically the end of phase 1 of the ALA's plans. And Rivera really stepped things up with phase 2. And we know, like, we know they had been trying to, like, take out Charlie's parents and even Lucy before. Like, this isn't like a surprise that they would try to do this, but the fact that they succeeded and the fact that, like, Bert and Hannah died off screen, the fact that all we see is their corpses and that there's no goodbye, no dramatic, sad, like, moment where they pass on and everything in front of Charlie or something. No, it's very sudden and very almost out of nowhere. And so Charlie's reaction at the end, where he kind of like seemingly just runs into the jungle going rogue and running away from everything, it's like it's completely understandable. Charlie's emotions have been getting more and more like strong since meeting Lucy. And so he's definitely gonna. I mean, he would absolutely feel this anyway. But I feel like because of meeting Lucy, because of how much he's learning to, connect with humanity in a way he hadn't before, it definitely caused him to have more hurt in this moment than it would have otherwise. And even seeing Lucy and Phil there on the way, he just looks at them for a second and then continues to run. Because he can't be around anyone right now. He just can't. And despite all the evidence, like, he's still being victimized in all of this. The FBI and whatnot are still after him. They still tried to stop him from even leaving the scene of, the fire and all. As if he had something to do with this, and he doesn't. And Phil is more and more realizing that than ever. Phil is realizing that he's been in the wrong and that he's definitely on Charlie's side now. And it's hard for him, and it's not like an instantaneous change, which I'm glad for. I'm glad that it's not like just like, oh, he wakes up one day, it's like a scene changes and suddenly he's all good with Charlie. No. It's a continuous process, and he's still getting there. But it's like, I don't know what's going to happen now. Because this changes so much. Charlie's entire home life is gone. And again, I've said it before, but I don't think Lucy's mom is going to be willing to take him in. Because she was already, discriminatory against him in the first place. Like, the only two characters I could see stepping up at this point. No, hold on. I guess there's four. Because there's there's the congresswoman. I can't remember her name right now. Though I doubt that's going to happen for a number of reasons. Because I think Charlie's going to stay in this town. And I don't think he would be able to if she took him in. So that's the least likely. The other options are the two girls at school. I don't know how their families feel about Charlie, but they've become friends with Charlie and Lucy, and I think they would be willing to try and help if they can. They're not major characters, and this could elevate them to being bigger characters, but I still feel that's pretty unlikely. The most likely option, I feel, is actually Phil. Because the series, again, is making progress in him seeing Charlie as, a person. And understanding that Charlie's not the bad guy here. And that Charlie is someone, worthy of seeing as, a person and not just an object. And so I think Phil might, like, actually, like, come around here and help him. But I think we're going to have a little bit of Charlie, on the run for now to kind of bridge that gap. But I could absolutely see Phil coming around and offering him a home. I could see it. Now, the question is, what's Rivera going to do next? Because he got out. He was originally arrested, but he somehow killed all of the police officers around him while still handcuffed and then got out of his handcuffs. We literally saw him getting out of his handcuffs while all the officers were already dead. And we didn't see anyone else around him. The other guy, I can't remember his name, the blonde guy, like, he was already taken down. I don't know, I don't think he's dead, but he was already taken down. So I don't think it was him. He was more than likely arrested as well. I think more likely Rivera just somehow got out. Like, I don't know if he's, like, really skilled in, like, some kind of martial arts or something, or if he was able to manipulate the situation. I don't know. We didn't see enough information. Unless there was someone helping him that we just weren't privy to, that we didn't see. I don't know. It's possible. There was that other guy from the beginning, the other guy who was helping them. I can't remember his name right now. The one that Rivera stabbed while they were in the car when they got into the accident and everything. He was taken into custody and he wasn't speaking. Did they end up letting him go at all? I don't think it said. Oh, excuse me. I don't think it said whether or not they let him go or whatnot after the fact. It's just like, we know he was arrested, we know he was questioned, and he didn't say anything. And then they just kind of like forgot about him as a character afterwards. So maybe it could have been him. Or maybe it was someone else in the ALA that we maybe haven't met yet. There could absolutely be other members that end up, like, you know, having a big part to play. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Or, again, maybe it was just Rivera. But this is, like, this series, like, as much as it's traumatizing and painful, it's also just so good. It's such an intensely high-quality show. I've always talked about, like, in the past, how while there's so many shows out there that I love, there's only one show that I actually consider to be perfect. That I actually think is perfect, and that's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I just actually finished watching some reactions to again lately. Check out the channel Bad Medicine and their Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood reactions. But yeah, I got through that. I got through that recently, and it just reminded me how this is the only show I truly can consider perfect. And I'm not going to say Darwin Incident is on that level, because I don't think it quite is. And honestly, I can't say that about a series until I've really finished that anyway. Right now, I would say, though, that Darwin Incident is on the level of something like Link Click for me, which is extremely high praise. Like, anyone who's been watching this channel knows how much I love Link Click. I don't hide it. I'm not wearing it now, but I have a Link Click shirt. I've run a panel on Link Click at YomaCon last year. It's like, I love Link Click. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I'd say it's in the top 5. I don't know the exact placement at the moment. It kind of like, it's always fluid for me. So it's like, my exact placements change around a little bit. But it's one of those shows that I'm really, like, constantly hyped about. We're supposed to be getting another season this year, too. But I would say this is on that kind of level. And it's also, just like Link Click, a very intense, very emotional, very political series, even to a point. Though the politics of Link Click are more, like, dialed back. It's more about, like, the human condition. While this one definitely is more about politics and stuff. But, you know, they have different styles and different themes and ideas, but they have a similar tone. And so I'm very curious to see what more comes of this. Because honestly, even if, like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the only anime I'd consider perfect, it's not my personal favorite. Because those are two different metrics. One Piece is still my personal favorite show of all time. But I think Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the only perfect show I've seen. So see, 2 different metrics. But this and Link Click are like right up there for me, and I'm definitely gonna have to see how this season ends, and hope we get a second season to really like delve into this more. But I guess we should just check this out and see what we have in store to find out where this is going to go next. We only have a few episodes left, so let's get into it. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. This was a good episode, and my theory was proven true. With Phil and his wife, who, again, I don't think we've ever seen prior to this episode, adopting Charlie. This is very fascinating for so many reasons. And I definitely think needed to happen. With this episode starting off with Bert and Hannah's funeral and just being like very dour, the episode starting to like push a little bit more as it goes on, more and more, into a little more lightheartedness is smart. It gets to the point where we see Charlie again. He's interacting with Lucy, even asking like, simple everyday questions like, if you're not going to eat that, can I have it, and stuff like that. And it like when he first appeared and everything, he's saying like he knows that they loved him and he loved them too. It's like you can hear his voice cracking a little. You can tell he's still very upset. And like when you saw Phil come into the clearing, you saw him like get very like timid and antsy and like back away and be on his guard. He's scared. He's absolutely scared. So you're seeing a lot more emotion, even if his expression doesn't change, even if there's not like a heavy a heavy like noticeable facial change to it. I basically just ended up saying the same thing again. But you know what I mean. With a lot of like real life and just other anime and cartoons and whatnot, people usually show their emotions on their face, of course, and other characters in this series do. But I don't know if Charlie can. I don't know how exactly that works, because we've not seen him like show any emotion. Every bit of emotion we've seen from him has been in his voice or in his just barely in his eyes. Like when Lucy first brought up that like the ALA was going after Bert and Hannah, you saw like this change in Charlie's eyes before he ran. You noticed how like freaked out by that he was, but it was like a very minor change. He didn't like make this like scared expression at all. It was just like the eyes kind of like had this like realization moment, and and you could tell what the emotion being felt there was, because you understand the character by this point. So it's one of those things where this show, even without showing the emotion on his face, allows you to understand him just as easily as any of the human characters. And that's good. That's what this series should be doing with Charlie. He should absolutely be able to be understood in his emotional state just as much as anyone. And again, you get that a lot throughout this series. I talked about when the ALA first invaded the house, when they were going after Bert and Hannah, and Charlie was in his room with Lucy, when he like heard them coming in and he ran to the stairs and yelled out to them, you could tell how scared and intense his voice was there. How much he was like doing his best to make sure that they would be okay. And so it's like, again, the voice acting is really good here. And I know not all of the voice acting has been like necessarily the best. Um, Congresswoman Lee Nars's voice acting, I don't know the VA who plays her, but it's a little stiff, honestly. It's not bad. I don't think any of the voice acting in this is bad. But it's like it definitely needs more emotion to it. It feels like someone's reading off a script rather than actually performing a role. But most of the others are fine. I think Phil's voice acting is fine. Lucy's and Charlie's are definitely the best. But I still stand by, and I've heard some of the Japanese, and it's probably technically speaking better. But I stand by watching the dub for this, partially because it does take place in America. The characters are canonically speaking English, so it's more immersive that way. And also, I just, I'm so far in at this point. And hey, sometimes I'll watch an anime with dub. It's gonna happen, and this is one I chose for dub before I even knew it was set in America, so it kind of feels like almost destiny. And I'm sticking with it. And none of the voice acting is bad enough to really throw me off. None of it's bad enough to really like bother me in any way. It's like there's just some of the voices, and I think it's clear that the voice actors have not maybe done as much, because I think this voice cast is almost entirely like either newer voice actors or just like ones who have not gotten a huge amount of work. You don't have any of the really big names in here. You don't have any Monica Rials or J. Michael Tatum's or Zach Aguilar's. You don't have anyone like that. And I appreciate that, because I feel like this series almost works better by having the VAs be unknowns. So you're not like focusing so much on like, oh, Robbie Damon is giving a fantastic performance. Um, Emmy Lowe is doing a great job, just like in Apothecary Diaries. No, instead you're focusing on the characters and what their story means. And I'm hoping that these VAs continue to put forth the work to become better and better to the point where they are one day on the level of the likes of the big names out there. I would love to see that. But every VA has to get their start somewhere, and not all of them are going to be like perfectly refined right from the start. And I'm fine with that. And some of them have done other things. Like I've talked about it before, but like Charlie's VA is also Yuri in Genosha. Um and like I've seen no issues with that performance either. Though I watched mostly in the sub for Genosha, I have heard some of the dub, and Yuri's voice is good. It's good. Of course, Charlie's is also the best voice performance in this, which I feel is fitting. But either way, um, yeah, I called both in the pre thoughts for those who are watching on YouTube. And I mentioned it briefly in the reaction, but I called that Phil would be the most likely choice to take in Charlie at this point, because it's like the other options we really had, I just didn't feel like were realistic enough. And Phil's character growth and development has been like a notable part of this series, with him starting out like kind of hating Charlie because of the event 10 years ago. And then we see him now where he actually sympathizes with Charlie and is caring for him. He's caring for Lucy. Like we see him helping keep the other police or the feds or whatever off of Lucy's back too. He's putting forth the work. And I love that kind of character growth. And he's still a grumpy old curmudgeon. Like, that's just who he is. Which is funny that his wife is so chipper and fun. I think they balance each other out well, but you can also see that they adore each other. So it's like, the funny thing is, my grandparents, my maternal grandparents were kind of the same way. My grandfather passed years ago now. I believe it was 2018, I want to say. Um, and he was always kind of like this grumpy curmudgeon and everything, but not in like a mean spirited way, just, typical grumpy old man way. And my grandma, who's still alive and everything, she's a lot like kinder, more friendly, very stereotypical grandmother. Very nice, and I wouldn't say like as chipper as Grace here, but definitely a lot more friendly and fun. Um and they got along so well. They loved each other so much. Like, even when my grandfather's health wasn't the best, he would always make sure to get up every morning to make my grandma breakfast and everything. Make sure she had coffee when she got up. And it's just like they loved each other, like, honestly, like pretty much no one I've seen before. And they didn't have to like be constantly like kissing each other or saying I love you or anything to get it across. They got it across with their actions. And they had different personalities, but they connected. They just meshed in a way that made them perfect for each other. And so I'm getting emotional here because it's like I do miss my grandfather. It's been quite a long time since his passing, but I do miss him, and I miss seeing that, I miss getting to see them interacting and whatnot, and seeing them loving on each other in their own way. And so being reminded of that through Phil and Grace here, just, yeah, that got me a bit emotional. Um but yeah, it's great to see that they're so willing to help despite everything, that Phil is willing to help despite everything, and that they're going to do their best, because the other alternative at this point, like taking him into like the state and putting him under just basically a foster home situation, it's like that's not going to help. Charlie doesn't need to be leaving town right now and like being set up like with some other like option like that. He needs to be protected by someone he knows, and he needs to be protected like in a setting where he'll be close to the people he does still have that he cares about. Most notably, Lucy. And he's talking, Charlie himself was talking about going to find Dr. Grossman. And I definitely still think that does need to happen. I do think Charlie and Grossman need to come into contact. But I don't think it's going to happen yet. I don't think we're getting that this season. I think that's something we have to prepare and build up for. And right now, the focus we need to have is taking care of this entire situation with how the town is viewing him and all of this with the police and the FBI. We need to take care of that first. I don't think the ALA is going to make another big move just yet. I think they're going to wait after all of this. Their goal is still to kind of get Charlie to basically renounce his humanity, basically, and side with them and the animals. Although we know that's not Rivera's ultimate plan. He's just like living for the chaos and shit, but I guess we'll have to see how this goes. We have like only a couple more episodes left of the season. I believe there's only going to be 13 in the season. So I definitely think that this last portion of this of season 1 is going to focus on just resolving this issue with the FBI and the police and everything. That's my my view on how this is gonna go. I think the ALA will be shown again, but I don't think they're gonna have an actual relevant moment. You know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna be like important to the story for the rest of the season. I feel like that was their big like final input for season 1. And I really hope this does get a season 2, because it's like you don't hear too many people talking about this series. And it sucks that this hasn't become more popular, but I also don't know how this has done in Japan. I don't know like how well this did there, and it might have done a lot better. But I really hope this gets a season 2, because it definitely deserves it. And I'm willing to wait. It doesn't have to come right away. Not all season 2s or future seasons need to happen instantly after the first. Like, we're getting a new season for Dorohedoro this year, and it's been like since I think the first season came out pre-COVID, or at least like just when COVID was starting. It's been a long time, and I'm glad we're finally getting a season 2 for Dorohedoro. But yeah, it's like I hope we get another one for this one. I'm willing to wait, but I would love to see more. But we have a couple more episodes to go before we get to that point. So tell me your thoughts on this episode in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.